Hello. I'd like to call to order the November 29th, 2017 regular meeting of the Board of Education. Principal Judice.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here at Pine Tree. We look forward to hosting, and Pine Tree is excited to be the host of this November Board of Ed meeting. So thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, everyone from around the district. We have a really busy night. It's Board of Ed Appreciation Night, and so it's a special board meeting to host, and so we're very happy to be hosting the meeting, but also hosting it on the night where we are appreciating the Board of Education. So with that, we have a really busy agenda, so I would like to get started. I have two special gentlemen here, Ryan and Chidi. They're going to help me with the national anthem and also our pledge, so please come forward, guys.
Please stand for the pledge.
And then remain standing for the national anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated.
All right. I want to thank our fifth grade select orchestra and Miss Walton for a wonderful job. Great job with the national anthem. Let's give them one more round of applause, please. So earlier this month, we were able to perform our drama club performance of Alice in Wonderland, and that was under the direction of Mrs. White, Mrs. Bjorkman, Miss Reynolds, Miss Pieren, and Mr. Lark, and it was an amazing performance. They performed over a course of 4 days, 5 shows for just under 2,000 people. And so it was an amazing experience for these kids. And on one day, they had a chance to sign autographs for some of the first graders that came over to watch on one of the days. So they felt like rock stars that day. It was a really great experience. So they are here to perform one of their numbers, Zippity Doodah. And as the orchestra is kind of clearing off their instruments, I'm going to introduce Mrs. White, who will come out and say a few words. And then part of our drama club will be performing Zippity Doodah for the board and our audience here tonight.
That wasn't on the agenda.
Good evening, Mr. Lark, Karen, you could come out. Thank you very much for indulging us. I'd like to introduce our team, our directing team, our choreographer, Mr. Lark, our musical director, Mrs. Bjorkman, our technical director, Mrs. Reynolds, Our art director, Mrs. Kieran, is back there somewhere wrangling children, and I'm Mrs. White. It really takes a village to put a show together like this, and we are so, so, so proud of our children. We're so thankful for the support of the parents. We're very thankful for the support of our PTA and all of the support, both financial and emotional, that they give us to put on these productions, and we're so thankful to our administrators as well. So right now you're going to see one of the numbers from Alice in Wonderland, Zippity Doo Dah, and they're being joined by all of the main characters so that you can see some of the wonderful children that put all the hard work into this show. So please enjoy Zippity Doo Dah.
Yes. Oh, I'm so confused. Nothing makes any sense here. Life can be so hard when you're only 3 inches tall. Alice, the caterpillar's gonna share 2 magical hyphenated little words guaranteed to make even your worst day simply absolutely fabulous. Ready? Ready. Repeat after me. Zippity-doo-dah. Zippity-doo-dah. Zippity-a. Zippity-a, zippity-doo-dah, zippity-a. You've been holding out on me. Hit it! This is the kind they dream about when you open up your mouth and a song pops out.
Great job, boys and girls. Excellent work, the Drama Club. We can't wait for next year. So excellent job, Alice in Wonderland cast and crew. Let's give them one more round of applause. Yeah, and Mr. Martin, too. Okay, so without further ado, the meeting shall begin. I will turn it over to our board president, Mr. Huberth.
We are reading the mission statement of the school district. We are committed to academic achievement and success for all students in a safe environment. In partnership with families and our community, our mission is to promote confidence, inspire a passion for learning, and prepare our students to become responsible global citizens. Do I have a motion to approve the revised agenda?
Motion. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. We will now have the presentations to recognize the school board, which will be followed by a brief recess. Matt?
So before Matt begins, I want to say a couple of words, but you can go right up there, Matt. No worries. Zippity-doo-dah.
Zippity-A.
Zippity-A. Each year, school board members put their name on a ballot and seek an opportunity to represent their district and community. Every year, the state of New York sets aside a week for board recognition. This is a great time to focus on the crucial roles an elected board trustee plays in our community and schools. They are extraordinary people who voluntarily tackle the enormous job of governing school districts. Their actions and decisions affect the present and future lives of our children. In honor of Board Recognition Week, this central office has made a donation to the Collier County School District in Florida. And Dr. Hassler will speak a little bit more about that. Thank you. I should read the...
So here to introduce Dr. Hassler. I'm here. Dr. Hassler is our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction. There is a general theme for tonight's Board of Ed recognition, which has to do with thanks and giving, and you'll get a chance to explain it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Before I speak about the initiative that our schools undertook this year, Dawn Tauber apologizes for not being able to be here this evening. She's our PTA Council President. However, she asked me to pass along some thanks to the Board of Ed. These are her words. On behalf of the PTAs in our district, PTA Council thanks the Board of Education members for your commitment to our community and children. We appreciate your dedication to preparing our students to be tomorrow's leaders. We would also like to thank our Superintendent, Mrs. Rodriguez, and the Cabinet, Dr. Hassler, Mr. Kravitz, Mr. Cahill, Mr. Villas, for all that they do to support the PTAs and its mission to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. And lastly, a special thank you to Ms. Spenley and Ms. Thurston, Ms. Devlin and Ms. Marr for their endless help towards our collaborative goals. We hope you all proudly wear your Be Inspiring pin from us because you all made a difference. And your pin is in the purple bag at each of your places. So, as Mrs. Rodriguez and Mr. Kravitz mentioned, I'm also here to introduce this year's initiative to recognize our Board of Education. Each September, our district administration sits down and discusses what we're going to do to show our appreciation to the work that our school Board of Education does. This year, those conversations took place in September, and they were on the heels of a string of natural disasters that ravaged North America. And we decided that we were going to give back to education and honor our board and support some of the school communities that were impacted by some of these natural disasters. We reached out to the Collier County Public Schools, as Mrs. Rodriguez mentioned, in Florida, the state of Florida, which is where Hurricane Irma hit in September. And at that time, they were already weeks behind in the startup of the school year. They didn't actually start the school year until almost a month after it was originally supposed to begin. At that time, they were in need of, and they are still in need of, gift cards to support the families, the hundreds and hundreds of families that were displaced by the hurricane. So all of our schools agreed to conduct a variety of different drives and collections to raise funds and collect gift cards. Collectively, with the cabinet and all of our schools, we were able to raise $4,365 in gift cards that are going to be going directly to the Collier County school system to be able to support families in that community. The schools will now come up and speak about how they individually supported that goal of providing gift cards to the Collier County schools. So Mr. Kravitz is going to introduce them individually.
All right. First up, we have our two K-1 buildings. We have Ms. Brock from Sapphire and Ms. Ricker from Smith Clove.
I don't like this wiring. Oh my God, look how cute they are. I don't like the wiring.
Thank you all very much for inviting us here this evening. You see a representation from Mrs. Ricker and myself with our fabulous students from both Smith Clove and Sapphire. And what we did collectively is staff members donated for the gift cards while our students collectively worked on cards for the students at Manatee Elementary School in Immokalee, as well as stories that they wanted to share. So what our students are going to do is they're going to share with you what they made for their friends in Immokalee. Mrs. Ricker?
Just want to thank you so much for all that you do. And certainly one of the best lessons we can teach our children is to have gratitude and appreciation for other people who need help. So appreciating you and having our students really reach out to Manatee Elementary School and really showing their support, it makes what we do so important, and that's why we're in this profession. So thank you.
Yes, isn't it? Like the guy with the big thing.
What? What? Did you do this? You're all Are you going to share this? All the friends made it? They did? Oh man, this is beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Big sharers. Yes, and we'll be big sharers. Yeah.
Yeah. That's me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And there's another book. Thank you. Fit this friendship. Excellent. So let's not have anybody fall. That is beautiful. We should give them a round of applause.
We also have a very nice thank you card that we put together for you guys, signed by all the staff at Smith Clove, as well as a thank you card from Sapphire Elementary to all of you. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. It's for me?
Thank you very much, Sapphire and Smith Clove. Up next, we have Mr. Joe Cotto and several students from North Maine.
You're right.
I just brought a few of my friends to say thank you, and I will let the students do all the singing and talking.
You don't have to read that. There you go.
what disastrous things happened in Florida on the news because of Hurricane Irma, my friend Shane and I went straight to Mr. Cotto.
We came to him with an idea to create a fundraiser to help raise money for Irma victims.
With a little help and some pencils and erasers, we came before school and we came to sell during an open house.
We raised a great deal of money for the families in need in Florida. Thank you for all you've done for us.
Thank you, boys and girls. Thank you, Ms. Murray, Ms. Hotto, Ms. Torello, Mr. Cotto also. That was great. Oh, yeah, because it takes so much to make Ms. Rodriguez cry.
We have this ready.
They do, I know. They sound
I will
like
say,
angels.
the far majority of these students were at North Main when they were in third grade, and they were so excited just to be able to get to this point as fifth graders, and it's very cool to see. So great job. Thank you. Next up, we have Central Valley. We have Ms. Rodriguez and Mr. Barone.
Good evening, everyone. It's truly our joy and our honor to be able to represent Central Valley and to have the opportunity to come before you and demonstrate our appreciation for you. So this evening, we have members of our Kindness Initiative as well as our student government that are going to talk to you a little bit about their fundraising efforts and as well about what kindness and giving means to them.
We represent Central Valley's Kindness Initiative, and together we believe that there is no greater calling than giving ourselves to help others. In fact, Ralph Emerson said the purpose of life is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to make a difference. We believe that this is best achieved through kindness. We have come together to raise money to help our friends at Manatee Elementary, not only to honor the Board of Education and the spirit of Monroe Woodbury, but because kindness is what truly connects us. We collected coins in all of our classes, our school lobby, and sold raffle tickets for fun baskets, with all the proceeds going to Manatee Elementary. But hope is really what we want to give. We worked on poems to remind our friends at Manatee that tomorrow will bring a new day of hope and new beginnings.
So what does hope mean? From us to our friends at Manatee, hope means we want to be a part of your healing. It means we want to be optimistic about their future.
It means we promise to be there, and it mostly means we want to be a part of encouraging a brighter tomorrow. Please accept these uniquely created journals in your honor, as well as our collection for Manatee Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you. This is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow.
I'm going to
Give a journal.
That's a journal.
This is perfect for an analog sort of guy like me.
It's beautiful.
And look, this resembles my thought process.
This is perfect. What's your All right. Thank you very much, Central Valley. Next up, I know we haven't heard from this gentleman yet tonight, but Mr. Giudice, you're up.
Here's my card. Oh, this chair.
Okay, So about 3 years ago, somebody came to my office and said, what a great idea to have our kids practice public speaking by having them part of our morning announcement team. And I thought it was a great idea. So instead of Mr. Martin and myself doing the AM announcements, we have a very talented group of 5th graders and 4th graders that do our morning announcements all year long. And it's just a great way for them to build their self-confidence and also practice their public speaking skills. And so this is our Pine Tree AM announcing team, and we're very proud of them. And they are going to do the presentation. So up first is Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you, Board of Education, for all you do for the entire Monroe-Woodbury Central School District. My name is Ryan, and I would like to introduce you to the Pine Tree Morning Announcement Team. Shahira, Desiree, Natalie, Samya, Chitty, Ashley, Kevin, Julissa, Claire, Sam, and Aiden.
On behalf of the entire Pine Tree family, the Morning Announcement Team would like to share with you how we raised a good sum of money for the Collier County schools in Florida who were recently impacted by Hurricane Irma. Our collection took place over the past month, and we started with a coin collection as students generously gave their spare change during the day.
Our faculty and staff collected money from their individual grade levels and/or departments and made group donations toward the cause.
During the recent Monroe-Woodbury playoff football game, we had some Pine Tree students collect spare change near the concession stand during the game.
During our book fair family night, parents were kind enough to contribute to our collection after they purchased their child's books.
Mr. Judice and Mr. Martin challenged our community to raise money, and as a result of the efforts of many, our administrators also contributed to this important cause.
Random parents sent in donations directly to our main office, which we added to our collection. We thank everyone who donated money and gift cards this past month.
This recent hurricane season has taken its toll on many areas of our country, and we are glad to contribute to this collection in support of the Collier County schools.
We hope that the generosity helps the families continue to recover from Hurricane Irma.
In honor of the hard-working Board of Education, the Pine Tree community would now like to present our gift cards to the Collier County School District in support of our friends from Florida who are impacted by Hurricane Irma.
Thank you.
Great job, Pine Tree. And just so you know, when you get to the high school, they have a morning show there too. So this is good practice for that.
That's for them. That's what's going to be sent.
And now we have our middle school. And we have Mr. Masano.
There's a bunch of them in there.
Yeah, $4,000. $4,000.
Where do I?
You hold on to it. We'll give it to I think Eric will be sending it over.
Thank you, everybody, and the Board of Education especially, thank you. I'm sorry I'm a little under the weather, so my voice is not usually this raspy and low, but I'll try to get through it. Today, we are here to appreciate you and your commitment to our mission statement, and part of our mission statement being that we are creating globally aware citizens. And, you know, Florida may not be across the globe from us, but it's thinking outside of our community, thinking within our community and outside of our community. And that's really what our students are beginning to do with your support. So we thank you for that. And on behalf of what we've done at the middle school, I have some friends with me today, representatives of our student council. We have Kayla, Matthew, Alana, Jalen, Stephanie, and Ahmad, and they have a few words for the Board of Education.
As members of the Monroe-Woodbury Middle School Student Council, we speak for our fellow students when we say thank you
for your support and tireless efforts in providing us with a rich and robust educational experience.
We are grateful for our opportunities here at Monroe-Woodbury Central School District, but recognize that not everyone in our country is as fortunate as us.
Recently, 3 hurricanes have left millions of fellow Americans reeling in the aftermath of these natural disasters.
In the Board of Education's honor, we have collected donations on your behalf to be delivered to the Manatee Elementary School in Collier County, Florida.
We are not the only ones grateful for your commitment to the public education.
The students of Manatee Elementary School wanted to say thank you to
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Caleb. I'm in 8th grade and I'm from Monroe-Woodbury Middle School in New York. So how are you guys doing? Good. How about you? Were you guys scared when the hurricane came and what happened?
Scared of the aftermath.
Yeah.
That must have been tough. How have your families dealt with the aftermath? How did they deal with it before?
And then aftermath, we had to very clean up, hard work days, and then when the school came, I was like, yes, I'll do hard work. That was the only reason I was ready to go back to school.
Was there a lot of destruction in your town? Like, what did it look like afterwards?
Trees everywhere, trash all over the place, roofs without roofs.
Hi, my name's Matthew, and I'm in 7th grade. So, how did as you said, the trees were falling down? So, how did the trees affect how you were moving around town or going to shelter from homes? How did the trees affect how you moved?
Some trees fell on top of cars and motorcycles, so some people would have to walk different places.
On behalf of our students in school, we're privileged to be able to help you get through this, and we hope you enjoy the gift cards that will be coming within the next week to 2 weeks probably.
All right, thank you, middle school. And now we have our high school.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the Board of Education, Elsie Rodriguez, and the Cabinet for the opportunity to introduce 2 stellar students from the high school. The first is Christina Stevanovic. She is a senior and president of Student Council. And then we also have Prachi Shah, and she's our treasurer, also a senior at the high school. So these 2 ladies have helped Mr. Castro spearhead the fundraising program in the high school. So here, they'd like to share a few words with you. Definitely, the statement that we want to make is gratitude is powerful. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. First, we would like to thank you for your commitment to making this district the best in our state and for your support in making our students successful. We, the students at the high school, celebrate and appreciate all that you do on our behalf, and you give your time to make certain that our education is a priority.
It is in the spirit of giving that everyone at the high school has pitched in to help those in need. We have collected gift cards in collaboration with our students giving spare change during lunches, donations from the PTA, the Interact Club, and staff members, and the gift cards will be delivered tomorrow. Thank you again for your commitment to our district.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sousa Committee?
Nope, that's it. We're done.
That's it?
That's it.
Speaking for the board, if I might, I think that's terrific. I think that, I mean, we know it's wonderful to be thanked, and we all know that why we do it is not to be thanked. It's the feeling we get inside of being of helping others and being in service to our children, and this sort of thanks that was showered upon us tonight is so appropriate because it's reaching beyond oneself to others. It's a display of kindness. It's a display of help. It's a display of broadening your horizons and reaching out to other people. And so I find that to be very personally gratifying. And I'm happy that the students and the staff and administration came up with this idea, and I thank you very much. And now we'll take a short 5-minute break. We pulled back. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. No board business was conducted during our short break. Could we close the back door?
It is, oh, I thought it was closed.
Thank you.
I can't see anything without my glasses.
Otherwise, nobody could hear me.
Sorry.
Questions or comments from interested citizens? Christy Tolino.
Hello. I appreciate you guys squeezing me in. I think what you guys are doing is awesome. It's great to show the kids that we need to help others, but we need to focus on what needs to be done in-house, like around us. So I would just like to talk about our school's anti-bullying program. We're hoping that we would be able to work together to change and create a new program. We feel that a new system is a great necessity, and who better to work with than parents who deal with the problem themselves. I think that we can all agree that our children's safety is our only concern, and once they leave our protection, we're giving you our kids in hopes that they're gonna be in the same protection. When it comes to punishments and consequences for when there is bullying going on, I have to say from my experiences, I don't see any. My son has been dealing with bullying since 2nd grade. And it's very hard as a parent to have to sit there and listen to the stories, their reactions. And as a community, we've come together to talk about these things, and we all have the same stories, and they all end the same, that there's been nothing done, no action taken. And I don't feel like our kids should have to feel like they don't want to go to school or that we need to move them to a different school. You know, first of all, this is where we live. We pay taxes to live here. In order for us to send them to another school, that's going to cost us extended money that most of us don't have. Just having our kids feel anxious or having to go see a therapist, and that could be from childhood into adulthood. And then again, the worst part of having to hear your kids talk about, thinking about committing suicide or actually doing that. So I feel like there's other things that maybe we could do with handling bullying. Because I'm sorry to say, but I don't see that there is any action really being taken. But maybe when when it comes to the bullier, maybe we could have them do a community service. What are they doing to the kid? Maybe they should research what that does to kids and see, maybe feel what the other kid is feeling. And also maybe that child who is doing the bullying has a problem, maybe at home or something else. So maybe that child should also get help and some kind of counseling, because maybe they're just doing this because of something else in their life. And I just feel like if we could work together to figure something out, maybe a better program can be made with us helping out, and we could change the problems now and for the future of our children and their children to come. And that's just how I feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Later on in the agenda, Mrs. Rodriguez is going to be speaking to a number of issues, and I think that will be included, and we will keep you and others posted going forward about continuing the initiatives that we have and improving them, and perhaps working with you.
Yes, I'm more than willing.
So I appreciate your coming up here and saying those things.
Can I just add one thing? First, I want to thank you for getting up, because I know it's very hard to get up in public and talk about something that's personal, especially when it comes to our children. But there is something that I need to say publicly, and that is when people talk about the consequences of the kids who have done something wrong, is we will never talk about what happens to someone's child. And it may appear that nothing has happened, but I will tell you that as far as consequences are concerned, there are consequences that are given to children. But I use the word children, and I think one of the things that you said that resonated with me is that we have to take care of all of our kids. The kids who are doing the wrong things and the kids that are being affected by those actions. And so I am more than willing. Please call my office. We can meet. You can talk to myself. You can talk to a group of us. We want to make sure that our school is inclusive and that all kids feel safe. And that's not always easy. So, later on, Mr. Hubert did say, I'm going to be speaking about some of the things that we are doing because we have concerns, about some of the things that go on. But it is a community, right? We need parents to work with us, and we need to address this together as a community so that we're all on the same page. So, I do appreciate you getting up. Thank you.
Right. We're all working in the same direction, And we can always be more effective. Update on questions and or comments raised from interested citizens. Do you have anything?
We don't have any follow-up.
Oh,
there's nothing to follow up.
Nothing to follow up at this meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of October 25th, 2017?
Motion. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. First reading of the policy manual update. Or
this policy has to do with the internet, mostly identity theft and all that stuff that's going on out there in the world with your privacy being intercepted and being used. We put into policy. Vargov has pretty much streamlined it and took out a lot of the stuff that needed to be taken out, and so does the first reading of it. That's really it.
All right.
It's the only one we have so far. We had another meeting this Friday, so we'll have more for the next meeting.
do we have a motion to approve the first reading of the policy manual update?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Second reading of the policy manual update policies 5710, 7130, 7240, 7250, 7410, 7411, 8320. about student transportation services, admissions and residency requirements, student records, privacy, organizations, publications, and student instructional materials. Have there been any, has there been any input since the first reading? Any questions from the public?
I had a bunch, but Bargoff and I spoke about it, and there was answered.
Okay.
Yeah, on the
Okay.
student records and privacy. It looked good.
Okay. Any other, do I have a motion to approve the second reading of those policy manual updates? Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Reports by the Board of Education committees. We haven't had an audit committee.
There's nothing to update at this time.
All right. Chris, you're going to have another meeting when, on Friday?
Friday.
The Friday morning, 9. Did we change the time?
9 o'clock.
9, I thought.
Oh, did we?
We changed it.
Yeah.
What time is it?
9 or 10.
We're meeting at 9.
9. Oh, okay, 9 o'clock.
AM.
AM, thank you.
Just clarifying.
Good. Facilities meeting, anything in the works there, Don?
So we have several updates. There was a meeting today with Governor Cuomo locally. They didn't bother to invite anyone from the school, but they've, I guess, revised what they're doing with the ramp, and I'm sure we'll get updated. I think the 12th and the 14th, we have a...
No, they've actually, I spoke with Scott Geiger today, and he said that he wants to meet with us privately and with the mayor of Monroe, because he was also left out. So we didn't get invited to the unveiling of what the roads would look like. So we were a little disturbed about that, and I did reach out to Mr. Geiger, and he gave his apologies, but said that he was not responsible for determining who was invited to the meeting, that it was the governor who was responsible for deciding who was going to be invited to the meeting. So he is going to meet with us within the next couple of days. He said he'd like to meet with us either Thursday, Friday, or Monday. He's going to be calling me back tomorrow, and he would also like to invite the mayor of Monroe, because obviously they will be impacted. It's not just the school district, but anybody who lives in Monroe.
I think Patrick has some other updates.
Yeah, just a minor thing. The Village of Harriman reached out to us about potentially leasing on a short-term basis the Harriman Center. So we had given Mayor Welly kind of a walkthrough. Peter had done that. And it may be a good opportunity to help the village. They're, I guess, going to reconstruct the village hall. And they're going to do it in the same area where the current building is. So they have to demolish that building and reconstruct it. So it may work out well and buy us a little bit of time while we figure out if we want to sell or lease it long term. I'm thinking potentially selling the building may be our best bet at this point, but that's the only facilities update I have.
In contact with the supervisor-elect, Tony Cardone, also.
I have reached out to him as well. Nothing to report on that front yet, though, John.
Right, I don't know what's going on there, but is that?
There's some other news, but unlike others, I don't want to steal Bargoff's, thunder. I'll let him go for it.
No, go for it. You can announce it.
No.
You can announce it. Bargoff?
So what Mr. Bueller is referring is on Monday night, New York State Education Review Board approved our Smart School Bond Act funding. It's called Smart School Investment Plan. We applied out $4.4 million. We applied about $3.9 million, and it's all funded. This will allow us to improve much-needed improvement of our internal infrastructure. This is going to be our foundation to build upon for the next 3 to 5 years. So we are very excited. Thank you to Mr. Cahill, Peter, Andre. They were very helpful. Our architect was very helpful in the process. So now the real fun begins.
All right. Congratulations. That's great. That's it. Report by Student Representative of the Board of Education, Sanjana.
Sorry. Okay, well, I have some pictures to share with my friends, so I will try to be quick. Okay. So So, energy specialist, Mr. Jalbert, visited the AP Environmental Science class last month to talk about energy consumption, and I myself took that class last semester, so I wanted to see what he had to say about it. And I think the class and him being there created a more active awareness for the environment, and I think students in that class specifically would like the board to keep in mind that awareness as well, because we have to constantly remind ourselves that this is our Earth and we need to protect it for our future. Another thing that I got to do this month was I attended the technology committee meeting with Mr. Rias, and I really, the thing that I mainly discovered was that the student perspective is very much in line with the teacher perspective and the staff perspective regarding the use of technology in the classroom. The new approach that the committee is taking, which is incorporating an effective use of technology that doesn't mimic paper. It's reliant on professional development. Students, especially at the high school level, they're restricted in their use of technology if the teachers and the staff around them are unable to effectively use the technology as well. And I think that's something that was important, that was highlighted by being at that meeting. So I got to visit Central Valley this month. I was very excited. These are some of my friends that I got to talk to, and probably some of the best people I've ever met. They shared with me some of the different programs they're working on. The newly instituted Big Brother, Big Sister program at CV, where they're learning professional skills like writing resumes and cover letters, but also skills about mentoring and being leaders. Here's just an example of them writing cover letters for Ms. Rodriguez and them writing resumes. I never imagined that this was a skill that fourth graders and fifth graders would be picking up, but I was incredibly impressed by it. They really appreciated their teachers preparing them for middle school, and they were just very much interested in being active members in their community and in the global community, as you saw them all speaking today. And one thing that I found a little bit unfortunate was that these students are experiencing some difficulties regarding bullying, and I think it's important to realize that as a district we can strengthen the support within CV to make them more comfortable discussing it. I think the issues that they come from just come from them being uncomfortable talking about it. And so I did discuss this with Ms. Rodriguez, and we started looking at handling these issues in ways to show the students we're taking a priority within the building. I think that all the kids are definitely open to feeling more comfortable about it, to know that we're prioritizing their issues within their building first. What's the next one I have? Okay. Sorry. This past month, I just personally have been struggling with some of the issues that were mentioned by Dr. Hassler last month at the last board meeting, and I think the best way to combat this would be through the promotion of positivity in all forms in all of our buildings. We have teachers reading poetry to us in our classes to inspire us, and others creating kindness walls to show students that we're all together on the issues that we're facing right now in light of recent events. One teacher just started with one Post-it note, just write one thing that you think is very positive about another student, and students are just coming into the classroom. It has grown twice to the size since I took this picture. But students are just coming in, hey, I want to add something to that wall. And I think it's very simple, but also in a way it's very uplifting to just see kids want to project that kind of positivity. The high school students specifically would also just like me to express that they're thankful for the support that has been shown to them in recent events. But they're also willing to openly talk about it with administration, about how to handle situations like this in the future as a more consolidated and unified unit. Okay. I got the chance to also sneak into Smith Clove and Sapphire this month, and the excitement and the positivity in those buildings blew me away. It was incredibly inspiring. At Smith Clove, I met with Haley, Jessica, and Cameron, and we got to talk about the lessons that they were learning during Red Ribbon Week, and just different things that they loved about their school, and they were really willing to express that to me, which I genuinely appreciated. And so these are some of my friends. And so at Sapphire, I also was able to receive that same kind of positivity and environment. I was toured the building with Ms. Brock very kindly, and I got to interact with students inside and outside of the classroom. They were so just happy and excited to see me. I tied a kid's shoes, and I think like I made his day, and it just makes me so happy. But this is just like, when I walked in, I was so happy to see that this is what was welcoming me in the lobby of Sapphire. So when I was there, I realized that students there, they look up to high schoolers so much. Ms. Brock told me about what they did for Halloween. They had a hoedown, so all of them dressed up in Western clothing, and they danced and played to music that was played by high school students. Now, the high schoolers being there allows them to have role models for them to see what they can become in the future. Like I said, when I was there, they were just so welcoming to me, wanting me to tie their shoes, and everyone was like, I want to give her a high five. I think at the high school level, connections within our own district can promote positivity. I started to work on a project, I've discussed this with Mr. Cassidy and Ms. Brock, about bringing high school students into this environment again, into the K-1 buildings, taking them into the classroom so they can read to these students and they can play Star Wars with them in their gym classes, and they interact with people who genuinely want to see them, genuinely are happy for them to be there. This would really, I personally believe that this would strengthen the students' feeling of belonging within the district and get them excited about just being active members in the community. We want to be role models for them. When we see how they look up to us, we want to be that for them. The high school students, they see themselves as, we see ourselves as young adults going into the world, and bridging that connection will allow us to feel like we're being part of this new generation that's coming up through these new students. So Ms. Rodriguez very kindly told me about one student who was actually here tonight, who shared with her what she had said after I had talked to her, and I think it really speaks about about the state of the students in the district right now. It was so awesome. It felt so good to tell the truth. This very obviously, I think, showcases how much they value the voice that they're now starting to realize that they have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have a presentation, secondary business department presentation by Jackie Pokanix, who is the business department chair. And thank you for all of that information that was on board docs for us to look at. Appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome. I usually like to stand when I present.
All right, you can stand, whatever you want.
Okay. I usually like to stand when I present. I feel it flows more. But good evening. I'm Jackie Polkanix, as it was mentioned, and I'm here this evening to present to you the Business Education Department Instructional Study. So who are we? We're the Business Education Department here at the high school. It consists of 2 staff members, myself and Elizabeth Howage. Unfortunately, she's not here this evening. But one of the big things that we do is we provide quality, meaningful, and engaging instruction to our students in various business subjects. And one of the big things that we're doing is we're moving in the direction of offering college-level classes to our students at the high school. And as you can see from the chart model on the screen there, the blue line indicates the upward slope of the popularity of college majors, specifically in business. So that particular blue line shows that continued increase. All right, so some of the things that obviously we do is provide and promote global education. We also provide fundamental business knowledge, such as the acquisition of value-added skills, and I'll show those to you a little bit later. But some of the key courses that we offer: college accounting, which is a full-year course. Students have the opportunity to receive up to 8 credits for that course. So it's broken out into 2 sections. Business law, which is a full-year course. College 101, which is a semester course, and it gives the kids the opportunity to research colleges, connect with their personalities, along with the right type of college or career path that they would choose, because it is a big decision that they're making. Entrepreneurship, we're changing that to So You Want to Be a Millionaire. And that particular course actually offers the students the opportunity to set up a business plan and create a potential product that they might want to create. Keys to Success is our keyboarding class, and this year we introduced the college-level textbook to give kids the opportunity to take a look to see exactly what those professional letters, reports, et cetera, that are used in business today. Sports and entertainment marketing, it's exactly what it says, but the marketing piece actually ties into our school store. That's why the kids work there every day on a rotational schedule. They work on the display case. They do everything from stocking, cash out, register, marketing, etc. And then finally, our college computer applications class, which we're going to actually change the name to Microsoft Office 365, because it is we teach all of the levels of Office Suite, so Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Access, and Excel. Okay, so this past year, last year, what we did was we revised that College 101 class. It formerly was Career Financial Management, and it still has that financial literacy component to it, but our primary focus is that college career path. We also implemented the college accounting course, the computer application course. We're constantly updating our course offerings, making the change based on what the kids are looking for. And we're implementing a lot of leadership skills that we're learning from FBLA actually into the classroom. And you'll see what I mean when I go on. Okay. All right, so last year, here are some numbers that represent the primary requests for the courses that we offer. And as you can see, with just the 2 staff members we have here, our student interest far exceeds the available sections based on our current staff levels. So some of the things we've had to do is either waitlist students or provide some independent studies. I know the numbers are very, very small, but what I'm actually trying to present here with the arrows is just to show you that that particular point there is for business, and although it's a little hard to see, the numbers are on an upward slope comparative to the other particular fields of interest. And once again, it's just to help support the fact that majority of students are going for business degrees. Okay, so some of the things we're looking at this year that we're working on is staff development. Obviously, talent management is important, so being ahead of the curve, taking additional courses, always looking for what's available out in the market. The other thing we're looking at is implementing a new college course, marketing, but putting a little bit of a different spin on it, marketing for millennials. Which would be social media, how do you use it for marketing purposes. The other 2 things that I want to just briefly talk about, and this is really the area where I'm really excited about, I would like to be able to work on getting internships for seniors at the high school. And I'm talking about corporate internships. Making the partnership connections with companies in the city, in New Jersey, and even local, to give those kids the opportunity to provide professional experience for them. Down the road, I would love to be able to even expand that to interning internationally, because I know that that's being done, and I would love to be able to see Monroe Woodbury do that. On to the next thing that I love doing is the school store growth. One of the things we did, thank you, Patrick, for finally making the credit card machine available to the store. We've already had a few purchases, which has been great. The kids are excited to be able to work with that and manage it, so that's wonderful. And one of the things I'd like to do in connection with that is to provide students the opportunity to work on an online business through the store. Okay, so some of the other things, I'd like to implement a Business Honor Society program. It would be just another avenue for students to look at another Honor Society program that would have different criterias. Community outreach, we're working locally with Monroe and Woodbury Chambers of Commerce to kind of develop those programs and actually bring them in to the classroom setting, working with those groups. And then bringing FBLA into the middle school, which I thank you very much, Mr. Massano. I had the opportunity to meet with him today to start talking about what we can do to actually have that happen, because FBLA does have a middle school level and is quite big, and I'd love to see Monroe Woodbury participate in that. Okay, so here are some of the value-added skills. Again, I know the print's kind of small, but just to kind of give you a quick, it's basically competitive skills, developing college workplace skills, also looking at time management, analytical thinking, creative thinking, higher order of thinking, real-world tools and skills that students need to be competitive in today's society. So what are the next steps? In order for us to be able to complete and rise to that level, we need to be able to receive support to increase our staff for next year. We'd also like to be able to attend to various workshops, including the American Management Association, which has some really great workshops and training for business individuals, meeting with SUNY Orange for new course offerings, beginning to recruit corporations to partner with Monroe Woodbury, work with internal talent to create that school store website and set up that business to consumer model, and then of course work with local chambers of commerce for community outreach and get the FBLA middle division started.
Great.
So here's my contact information. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to give me the opportunity to speak with you. I know many of you are educators, business people, parents, entrepreneurs, and I think I speak with, the fact that I'm very passionate about it, and we hope to receive your support.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. It's obvious you want to grow the program,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that you're passionate about it.
Yes.
And there's certainly an interest there. Steve Newhouse reached out to us a while back about internships within the county. You might want to, if you haven't been in touch with him,
Yep.
be in touch with his office and,
Absolutely. Get started. Get
some
going,
stuff
right?
going.
Yes.
So we look forward to reviewing all of that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's what I asked for you to
The
do.
hospital also has summer intern.
Okay, good.
We're actually, I'm taking a group over to Middletown High School. They have their Cisco lab.
Yes.
And we're actually going to take one or two of their students for the summer.
Oh, excellent.
Most of our interns are picked by January, February. And it usually involves doing a walkthrough of whatever it is, your facility, but.
Okay, good. Excellent. So is that something I could reach out to you?
Absolutely.
Just to initiate?
Yes.
Yeah.
At least 2 students.
We
If
can make
Middletown
that
got 2, we should at least get 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, Don.
As long as you have a Cisco training program.
We'll get one.
There you go. They're pretty cheap. The other thing is on your entrepreneur
Yes.
thing. I mentioned it too. One of the things that would be nice to see in that, I want to be a millionaire
Yes.
concept, is in addition to the business plans, maybe introducing them to the financing of a small business, understanding what are the terms that they usually, how much of their company are they going to have to give away to raise money? And what are the terms for that? Because I've been involved in that, and that's usually that, we were talking about before, the Shark Tank moment.
Yes.
Where everybody thinks something's worth a lot, and I think it's important for the students to understand how much are you going to give away of your great idea in order to get someone to fund it.
Exactly.
And what are those, and you could probably, I'm sure we have parents here that are, you know, in the industry that
Right.
would come in and
Yeah, and I
either
believe-
talk to you or give terms.
Yes, absolutely. And I believe I don't teach that class, but I can tell you that Elizabeth Helwich, she does actually engage the kids in Shark Tank. We show that to the kids all the time. And yes, just
But
to
having
talk
a list
about the
of, like,
whole,
here's the normal term.
Exactly.
This is the percentage you might have to give up to get,
Right.
just to give them at least that. It's usually a shock.
Yeah.
So it's best to get that out
Yes.
as early as possible.
Yes. Just like it is to make them realize in College 101, the actual cost involved in your education, the investment you have to make, and what return.
Well, you need to prepare them before they have to sit before Mr. Salato and him give them the bad news.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I actually have a question.
Yes, yes, sure.
So I was also looking at the other icon where it had business, and there is, after the growth in the middle school FBLA, there's the CDOS standards.
Yes.
So I have a question about that. Because in this, it states that students who choose a career major will acquire the career-specific technical knowledge skills necessary to progress towards gainful employment, career advancement, and success in post-secondary programs. What would post-secondary programs be? Because CDOS isn't recognized in the college, is it?
Well, yeah, post-secondary would be at the college level. That is correct.
So how would a CDOS, how would you be eligible if they don't recognize it?
I can actually, the state is now looking to actually try to make CDOS a credential that is equivalent of a diploma through a pathway towards graduation and commencement, and not just a credential. The state now is talking about different like that's a big movement at the state level, is pathways towards graduation. And they're talking about now having career and technical being possibly a pathway going towards graduation because, and I think last year or the year before, we did a presentation at a board meeting talking about how one of the big issues that's out there is that there's this perception that a CDOS is not the equivalent of a diploma in order for students to be able to move themselves forward. But the state is really trying to push that out, and the concern being that it's not always recognized for a variety of contexts of being students completing their high school career. That's something that I think that concern is a very, very prevalent issue at the state level. Because for us, we can only offer what the state comes down and gives us permission to be able to offer for students who are completing high school. We need the permission from them to be able to say the CDOS credential is now something that is an equivalent for them to be able to move forward and go into college to be able to do that because they've completed high school.
So I'll go back to it. So if it says CDOS standards and under 3B, post-secondary programs, it really is not relatable at this point because we're not sure if we can or can't
What do you mean?
go into a college with this.
The state, it depends upon, my understanding is that as soon as they have passed this new pathway towards graduation, that a CDOS credential will be able to be held as a pathway towards a diploma to then continue on towards college. That's my understanding of the plan at the state level.
Because there are students that can make that decision to go for a CDOS. So that's a very interesting.
Sure. And the CDOS also.
But can I also just say something?
Yeah, sure.
You can be a student who goes for a CDOS path, I believe, and also have a
And get a
Regents.
diploma.
And get a diploma.
Correct.
You can have both.
So you can do both.
You
because
can do both.
You can come back until you're 21.
Correct.
That
You
is
can do
under that.
both.
Sure.
You can do both.
Correct?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. A student, technically speaking, the CDOS credential, anybody who fulfills that requirement can get the credential, and if they fulfill the requirements in order to be able to get a diploma, they can also get a diploma as well.
Correct.
Sure.
Because they can do that till they're 21.
Right.
Correct. Okay. All right.
Any other questions? Good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll have a discussion about inclusive and safe schools. Elsie.
So I wanted to share with the community and the board that last month in October, I attended a Facebook summit called Connecting Communities of Courage, and Facebook actually sponsored it. My introduction was through Dr. Hassler, who was part of the committee that put the event together. Again, Facebook sponsored it, so we flew out to California and we met with people around the country to talk about how do you create communities and schools that are inclusive of everyone. It was very interesting to see what other people have done throughout the country and some of the programs that they had. So when I came back, one of the things that we began to experience, and again, I spoke with Mr. Huberth about it, was that we were experiencing some concerning number of events on school buses. And I say that because I was very concerned at some of the incidents that were going on, and I was meeting with children who were doing things that were wrong. They weren't being kind to each other. They were saying things that were inappropriate. And it was very upsetting for me, and it was very upsetting to the students who had to deal with it. And so I felt as though it was really important as a school superintendent to be able to sit in front of everybody and say, I think we have a little bit of a problem. And part of the problem is what's going on, I will tell you, on the school buses. And so we met with, I reached out to some of the unions. I also reached out to Dawn, and I reached out to Patrick, and we had a meeting with Matt, and we had a sit down and we said, look, we have an issue. How are we going to address it? And so we came up with immediate actions. One of them being is that we are hiring monitors to be on the bus, because I think we need more adult supervision. It's very hard for a bus driver to drive a bus with 50 students and be able to drive the bus safely and manage what's going on behind them. So that's important for us to know that. You can't do both. Those of you who have more than one child, have you ever tried to drive 4 children in a car behind you and drive safely? So imagine what it's like for our bus drivers. So being cognizant of that, we said one of the things that we want to do is we want to start putting monitors on buses. The other thing that people should know, and there's not a lot of students here, but if you're watching, we have cameras on all our buses. And when an incident happens, the first thing that we do is we go to the cameras. So that's important for people to know that. So when we get the story that that never happened, and then I go to the video and I meet with the parents, that's a different conversation. So we're going to be doing something called bus audits. And what that means is that we are going to randomly pick a bus on a random school day and just play the video so that we can see what's happening. Because sometimes our children don't tell us what's going on, right? So I think it's going to be important for us to do that. So that's something that we're doing in the immediate as of now. For the future, we've started to talk about staff development, helping our teachers, our monitors, anyone that works with children to look for signs if something is going on, right? I think that's going to be important. So that's one aspect of what we're going to be doing, which is professional development. I think somebody mentioned professional. You mentioned about technology. Mm-hmm. But I think it's important, to have professional development for our staff. Because the truth of the matter is that we're all responsible for what goes on in school. Not just the teachers, not just the administrators, but it's the custodian, it's the lunch monitor, it's everyone in our buildings, it's our school secretary, everyone in our buildings and on our buses are responsible to keep our kids safe. And as that parent mentioned, I don't remember your name, I apologize, but you said that you entrust your children to us. And our responsibility is to keep them safe. And I will tell you that that is the most important thing that we can do. Kids cannot learn if they don't feel safe, period. So I'm not saying that it is rampant. I am saying that we have some issues with some of our children, and we need to find ways to help them. As far as consequences are concerned, one of the things that I can tell you is that punishment is not enough. And I don't mean punish them in something else. I think it's important for us to talk about how do we get children to change their behavior, right? And also to have the adults in the building to understand the importance of how we treat children. Because we're all responsible, and we're all models. That's one of the things that we talk about. We need to model good behavior. That includes our teachers, that includes our custodians, our bus drivers. We all need to, we're responsible for modeling good behavior to our children. They need to see us behave well. And I think that that's something that we're going to continue to talk about and to provide staff development. I have reached out to someone from the Children's Aid Society. One of the things that I was fortunate enough when I went to California is that I did get up and speak, and someone reached out to me and said, look, I'd like to work with your school district. So several people have contacted me. And I had a meeting today with somebody who talked about creating community schools. And what she talked about was the dream that I have for this district, where we're all together, working to make sure that our kids feel loved and cared for, respected, and so that they can be successful children as they grow up. So I felt it was important, and this is a conversation that I had with Mr. Huberth probably about 3 weeks ago. And the recent events make it even more important for us to speak about it. But what I would ask is that if you as parents feel that something is going on, please reach out to us. If one person doesn't listen to you, talk to another person. If you feel the need to get up in front of the board and speak to us, that's fine. Do that as well. Keep talking and your kids are the most important things that we have. And we really do. I will tell you that this board and myself and my cabinet and my administrators, we really do, and the staff, care about kids. And if we're not doing something right, it's okay to call us out. I don't ever get upset about that. What I do get upset about is when people don't give us the opportunity to make things right. And again, consequences are important, but that's not the only thing we have to do with kids, right? We have to teach them to do the right things. And when they do the wrong things, we have to give them a consequence, but we have to care about them. And I have close to 7,000 students, and we have to make 7,000 students feel that we care and support them. And that's not just something for the kids. That goes for the adults, too. The adults have to treat the children with respect. And that's my message to anybody who's watching, to everyone who's sitting here, that my expectation is that everybody who works with children, they have to give them respect because they're watching.
Thank you. Thoughts?
We sat through a presentation of, was it School Guard? Yeah, that also addressed some of that. They presented to the school a couple weeks ago, where was an app where you could report online, so it was anonymous, and the idea behind it was that if you saw something, you could report it and not feel like you were, going to be,
putting yourself on the line.
I have the app on there and see something, say something, where you could just snap it and it goes anonymous to.
Yeah, I think we're looking at that as well.
It seems like it falls into that area that you're talking about.
I think one of the things that we struggle, and Sanjana shared with me a little bit, is that sometimes our students are afraid to talk to the adults, which that worries me too. Why wouldn't they tell us what's going on? So that's something for us to address. And I know that everybody's under a lot of stress, but we have to do everything in our power. So if it's an app that kids can get, and we've been looking at that, as you mentioned, getting an app so that kids can actually let other people know that something is going on.
I think it would actually empower other students who might be fearful of stepping up to actually
I think they had like 5,000 schools that had signed up for it or something like that. It was a lot.
Yeah, I think we would be the first school in Orange County to do it. But I think that that's something that we really need to consider, a way for kids.
Who polices that, Don?
Administration.
Administration.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elsie. Personnel, Matt.
All right, thank you. Prior to requesting approval for the items found under personnel, I'd just like to point out a few things. There are two appointments in particular that I'd like to point out tonight. I'm soon going to be asking for approval. We have two people who are current members of the MW family, and we're hopeful that they'll be moving into new positions depending on how you all vote. But I would like to introduce Christine Ricker is being recommended as our next director of PPS, and Nikki Reagan is going to be recommended as our next assistant principal at Smith Clove.
Thank you.
Also, there are two people who have decided that retirement is in their very near future. Congratulations to Nancy Garteser and Giles Reamer. There are a number of resolutions, one in particular that I'd just like to highlight, and that is memorandum of agreement for our MWEA. With that, I'd like to say a public thank you to both Colleen Buck and Phyllis Beverly, who were people who negotiated on the other side. They were professional, they were timely, they were very fair, and with that, I respectfully request approval for the items listed under personnel.
Do we have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions for Matt? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
So can I say one thing?
Yes.
So Colleen couldn't make it, Miss Buck could not make it, because she is at a tournament for dart throwing. Yes, this is true.
I beg your pardon?
Yes, she's in a tournament. She has-
I have a picture of Beeler on the wall, which I...
You can't really see my picture anymore.
And she's got a lot of holes. And she just wanted me to tell the board, thank you. She's very appreciative of how the negotiations went and said that she would be here, but if she did not go to this tournament, she would forfeit her position. And I think she really wants to win. So we're hoping that Colleen went out and won the dart tournament championship.
Well, we certainly hope so. Business and financial, Patrick.
Yeah, so I would respectfully ask for approval of the items under business and financial, which include our standard monthly financial reports. 4 donations. We have a digital piano from Philip Fury, an oboe and viola from Linda Siegel, a $500 donation from the Orange County Water Authority for use by the high school science department, and a violin, an electric violin from Angela and Jeff Puglis. So I'd like to thank those folks for those donations. Appreciate that. We have 3 contracts, agreements for related services for special needs students, an agreement with John A. Coleman School, the Bergen Pediatric Therapy Center, and Westchester Institute for Human Development. We have approval of the budget calendar. We have 5 meetings, excluding the budget hearing for that, so that hopefully that will be adequate. And a resolution authorizing a new extra classroom activity fund club at the middle school, the Middle School Junior Honor Society.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions for Patrick on any of these items? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Do I have a motion to approve the recommendations of the Committees on Special Education and Preschool Education 16.1.2.3.4 on our agenda? Any questions? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Reports by board and central office. Michael.
Great job with the business program presentation. I love the idea. It's actually sad to see how many kids are turned away from it with the amount of seats that are available versus the kids that are applying. Hopefully we could do something to expand that and get the kids that want to be in those classes in there. Very important. Love the idea about the bus audits. It's a great idea. I hope we follow through on that. Congratulations to all our fall teams. Great seasons. I had the pleasure of following the girls' soccer team. It was very exciting to watch them go as far as they did. So congratulations to them and all the other teams that did well.
Thank you. Chris?
I just want to thank all the schools that came out to thank us with all their gifts. And it's nice to see a little hard work going a long way to help others in need at time. I want to wish all the seniors. I guess a lot of them are putting together their college applications right now. So good luck to all their seniors that are trying to go wherever they want to go.
Don?
Again, thanks to the presenters today. That was very nice. And I'm glad to hear about the smart school bond. That's fantastic that we'll be upgrading our technology. And I think everything else was pretty much covered.
Suzanne?
Yeah, I'd really like to thank all our presenters, and the show of gratitude was overwhelming. Particularly, I'd like to mention the students from North Main and their performance, because I literally needed a tissue, brought tears to my eyes. It was absolutely beautiful. I also had the opportunity on November 17th to attend the performance of Alice in Wonderland, and I know we saw a bit of it, but it was really amazing. It was a wonderful, wonderful performance. And I'd like to thank Jaylene Payne for inviting me to attend that. It was really worth going to, and I'd like to wish everyone a good evening.
Sanjay?
I just want to say that me, along with the student body and all our buildings, are just really appreciative of the support that we get from the Board of Education and their administration. So just wanted to say thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. Leah?
Wish everyone a good evening.
Thank you. Bhargav?
Thank you, Mr. Gides, for hosting us. Thank you all the principals for your appreciation to the board as well. Google Expedition, we actually had the augmented reality from Google came and visited us, our K-8 students. About 1,100 students took the part, and it was fascinating to see the new technology making its way to the school level. What it does, what's augmented reality is actually implementing a combination of virtual world with the real world. And kids were actually some of the administrators were very excited than the kids, and really enjoy the whole process. Kids enjoy watching the tornadoes, learn the human circulation system, ancient Greece, and these are the technology in the next couple of years will be available to the schools for our kids. So we're very excited about that. The other part, actually special thank you to Dawn Russell. She was able to manage the transportation for all the K-5 students to come to the Pine Tree. So thank you all the administrator and Dawn to make this happen. The other initiative that we are launching is the cybersecurity initiative, cybersecurity awareness for our staff. And it's very interesting. It's kind of shifting the culture. We always are really click on the link or email that we get, and it's kind of very used to from the cultural perspective. So what we did last Friday and Saturday, we actually send a phishing email with the use of the third-party system to all our users. And what it does, it actually allows us to track who opened the email. And if you open the email, you will receive that, hey, this is a phishing email. You need to subscribe to the online learning. So not only educating
So
our
you failed,
staff.
right? So you failed if you opened the email.
We had some interesting people.
I didn't open the email, which was amazing.
It's really shifting the culture and kind of preparing our staff for what's coming down the pipe or what's actually already here. It allows us to subscribe to the training. So if you kind of fail this, it's a part of the next step would be you will be required, not required, but you will be actually asked to take the training, which is online as well.
Strongly asked.
So it's actually thank you to Prudence and Mary Grace for that. And the next year we will be actually bringing the kids as a part of this learning curve as well, so that actually they'll educate themselves before they leave us. That's it. Thank you.
Eric?
Congratulations to everybody appointed this evening. Thanks to the board for all you do. Thanks to all the building administration for helping those in need. Thanks to Jackie Polkinix for her presentation. Thank you to Pine Tree for hosting. I also attended Alice in Wonderland. It was great. Mr. DiLorenzo mentioned earlier internet safety being a conversation at the policy committee, and Mr. Vias just mentioned phishing scams. Thank you to Assistant Attorney General Gary Brown and Assemblyman Jane Skoufis, who did presentations for our high school critical issues classes on how kids can protect their families from phishing scams, online scams for soliciting funds and things like that. It was a great presentation. December 1st through the 14th is the Artist's Response to Human Rights at Orange County Community College. So if you're near SUNY Orange, please go and attend. The exhibit will be brought to the Ed Center if you aren't able to make it. And finally, Sanjana, I have something for your kindness wall. I'd like to thank the 3 Mystery High School students who saw me loading lumber in the back of my truck in the parking lot of a local store and provided unsolicited assistance in helping out in the loading. I have no idea who they were, but you reinforced for me that a true demonstration of character is who you are when no one is paying attention. I might not have been in a shirt and tie, but I was paying attention, and thank you so much for helping out. It was still good out there.
When you get to an age, people tend to do that.
Good answer. The job is shaving years off my life.
That was good. That was good, John.
Patrick?
Just a few quick things. So we're about to engage PLC Associates. That was to help us with our strategic plan. That was the second group that we had seen in August, late August. So we have a video conference call with them for Monday. So I think that's going to go very well. They're very excited to work with us. We're also going to use Forecast 5 Analytics, which is a relational database, to do some of the analysis associated with the strategic plan. It's very good for financial forecasting and also benchmarking. So our organization against other school districts in the state and in the country, that sort of thing. So I think it'll help us. It'll be a great tool for us to use. And finally, the Village of Monroe reached out to the district, and they have a tractor, which is very lightly used, I understand, and they're offering it to us for about $50,000. So my understanding is this is a very good deal, and the tractor has a large snowblower attachment and a big mowing attachment. So we're in the process of doing our due diligence. There's no requirement with used or surplus equipment to bid that. But what we'd have to do is we'd have to budget for that next year. And so if we think this is a good deal, this is a wise business decision, we could write them a letter and say we're committed, presuming the budget passes, to buying this. And we would have to do that after July 1. So more to follow, but we're looking into that. So that's it.
Matt?
Big thank you to Brian and Tim and everyone here at Pine Tree. This is always so nice, and thank you to all the schools and students. I had a chance to go to the St. Jude's basketball game for North Maine, which was wonderful. I was hesitant about participating, and Joe Cotto kind of sucked me in at the last second. So it was a good night. It always is. Just a heads up that one of the things that we're looking into is we're finding that as positions open up in our district, particularly our civil service positions, we enjoy having people, especially those we know, particularly district residents, apply for those spots. Some of those, the competitive ones, you have to be on a civil service list, and civil service can be daunting sometimes when we're trying to navigate through a civil service. But in the new year, we're looking to have a civil service information session for our district residents, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, just to get people in the door so they can then understand what it would take to even get on a list, so that should a position open up, we can kind of call them and say, look, we know you're on the list, let's go, and then we can hopefully interview them. So that's one of the things we have coming down the pike, and that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. All right.
Yes, I'd like to thank all the kids as well. I loved tonight, and I noticed that Elsie had the tissues over there. So when they were singing This Is Why We Sing, I had to hold back. Sorry. The chocolate was delicious. Thank you, Leah. And I know that you have a basket. Hopefully there's chocolate. I'd like some of that. It's not all for you, John. Yeah, this is a great night. This is always very special. This is when you look at the children and all the students. This is why I do this. It's just they're the generation. I wanted to say that I attended the Save a Life last month at St. Patrick's. No, Sacred Heart. At Sacred Heart, where Mr. Cassidy was on the panel. And I wanted to mention to the mom who spoke, which I guess she left, that the hopes of the Save a Life is that we're also trying to branch out and create coalitions in this community to help any issues that's going on in the district and on the outside, because everyone is affected. So that is the hope with that. It's kind of like branching out. And I think that really is it.
Right.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Stacy?
I want to say thank you to Mr. Geese and Mr. Martin for hosting us tonight. I was able to attend the full play, which was excellent. They really did a great job. I also got to go to Mrs. Brock and Sapphire to see the kids for the hoedown, which is always great. Congratulations to the new administrators. Thank you to the presenters. And I also wanted to give a little follow-up, because I know now we're getting into follow-ups. I wanted to thank facilities, because it has not gone unnoticed by myself that, especially here at Pine Tree, we have a lovely painted sign. The light bulbs at the scoreboard for the high school football games were fixed, and the beautiful plants are at the middle school with Mr. Masano. So I just want to say that the little things make a difference, and they don't go unnoticed. Thank you.
Anthony?
I just want to thank everybody for the presentations this evening. This really is the nicest evening to be on the board, and it really is why we do it. I also got to attend Alice in Wonderland. It's a really a remarkable piece that they put on, and thank everyone, and have a good evening.
Dan?
I too was at Alice in Wonderland. I'm always amazed at the size of the cast. I think they had something like 100 or so kids in the show itself, which is great that we get so many students involved. Congratulations to Christine and Nikki. Much success in your new positions. Congratulations to Bargoff on getting his bond funded.
Bar bond.
Bar bond. I hope to see new toys around the district soon. No.
Nothing's gonna be.
And finally, since the holidays are in full swing, for those people who haven't seen the school merchandise online, feel free to go on and spend some money for this upcoming shopping season.
Elsie?
I wanted to thank Brian and Tim Martin. I don't see them. Did they leave already? Oh, they're there. I was going to say, did you leave? Just wanted to say thank you for hosting. You were a great host. I want to thank all the administrators and teachers, and especially the students, because truly that is so inspiring. And, I look around to see, I take my inspiration from the people around me. So we got these little buttons that say, be inspiring. And I really feel like this board and this cabinet and all of us, we do inspire. And tonight was one of those nights where you got to see the fruits of your labor. You had children singing, you had children dancing, students got up and spoke, and all of those things are not easy to do, especially when you're from kindergarten all the way to high school. And to me, that's what I look for. When you assess yourself, that's what you want to see, is our students engaging in this way. So that's a big deal for me. And I just want to thank the board again myself. Thank you for doing what you do. Sometimes it may feel like you're doing this and we're not moving forward, but we really are. And even though tonight I talked about some of the issues that we have, I think that we're not a perfect school, but I don't think there is a perfect school. And the most important thing in addressing an issue is acknowledging that there is a problem. So I think that I can't be in better hands than the people around me to say, how are we going to fix this, and how are we going to make sure that all of our kids, and I really emphasize the word all, because it's not 80%, it's not 95%, it's 100% of our kids need to feel welcome and loved, and that we care about them. So on that note, I turn it over to you, Mr. Huber.
Thank you, Mrs. Rodriguez. And Brian, Tim, thanks for tonight, for Alice in Wonderland, and thanks to everybody here, and thanks to everybody who left for your thanks and appreciation for what we try our best to do. I'd like to send congratulations tonight to the winners of the municipal elections within our district, and trust that our mutual relationships will continue to be productive. As I've said before, our school district and our municipalities intertwine to make a collective community and make it what it can be working together. So congratulations to all of those folks. Do I have a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel matters? Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Meeting is adjourned.